Hey everybody, John Skiba here from the Consumer Warrior YouTube channel, and in this video I'm going to talk about some of the common myths that I see when it comes to bankruptcy. And the number one thing I'm going to address today is whether you're going to be able to get credit after you file for bankruptcy. And if this is your first time here, please go ahead, subscribe, check on that little bell, that way you'll be notified each and every week when I put out new videos that'll help you deal with your serious debt problem. All right, let's talk about this myth that's out there that if you file for bankruptcy, you're never going to be able to qualify for credit again. Now, I don't ever sugarcoat it. If you're going to file for bankruptcy, this is the nuclear option. This is where you have serious debt, you want to get rid of it and kind of deal with it once and for all. But I meet with a lot of people here in Arizona where I practice bankruptcy law. They're hesitant to file bankruptcy even though they desperately need it, because they're concerned that they're never going to be able to have good credit ever again. Now, the ironic thing is that it's actually the opposite. What I see is that people often wait way too long to actually file for bankruptcy. Instead, what they do is they let their accounts go into default, they get delinquent, they're starting to get sued, garnished. And with the rise of the junk debt buyer economy, which we used to see in the old days, back in early 2000s, the debt, they would get charged off, they might do a few collections here and there, and eventually it would just kind of go away. That's not how it happens anymore, particularly with credit card debt, but even with medical debt and other types of bills that you owe. If you don't pay it, they often will charge it off after 6 months, and then they will sell it to junk debt buyers. And that's where, so much here on the Consumer Warrior YouTube channel, we talk about defending these junk debt buyer lawsuits. The debts often will trade hands, from company A to company B to company C, and they just never really go away. And the problem with that is that it damages your credit. It's always being reported. Sometimes it's being re-aged on the credit report, which they shouldn't do, but they often do. And so instead of just damaging your credit for a short period of time, we see it for 7 years, then we see judgments that are lasting for the rest of people's lives, and I'm not exaggerating that. In Arizona, judgments from a credit card are good for 10 years, and they can be renewed every 10 years for the rest of your life. And so what I often see is that people will actually, they believe that that's kind of the way to go, is just kind of keep going along, and hopefully one day they'll be able to resolve the debt. And they're not able to, and it causes just long-term damage where they would have overcome that long ago if they had filed for bankruptcy. So in the Chapter 7 bankruptcy, it eliminates the debt completely. Credit cards, medical bills, personal loans, those are typically discharged completely. Now, it does impact your credit. As soon as that bankruptcy case is filed, within 30 days, you're going to see it show up on your credit. But one thing that surprises a lot of my clients is usually within days of filing, your mailbox is just going to blow up with advertisements for credit cards. Now, people are wondering why in the world is this happening? It's so counterintuitive because we do think that, hey, I'm never going to have good credit again. There's a couple of reasons. I believe there are somewhat perverse reasons that these credit card advertisements are showing up in your mailbox. But one is, now that you filed for bankruptcy, you can't file another bankruptcy and get a discharge for 8 years. So, and then the second reason is, so you can't file for bankruptcy for 8 years, and then the second reason is that they're assuming you're getting rid of a lot of debt, and so you probably have more disposable income. So you can't file bankruptcy on this new credit card that they're going to give you, and they figure you have more money to be able to pay it back. So in a kind of a weird way, they're viewing you as a really good credit risk, even though you just barely filed for bankruptcy, because they know that they're likely to be repaid on their particular debt. Now, early on, the interest rates are not going to be good. There's just no sugarcoating that. They're not going to be good. But the further you get away from that filing date of bankruptcy, you're going to be surprised at how good the interest rates get and how quickly they get good on credit cards and car loans. I see that routinely where clients need to get a new vehicle, or they're surrendering a vehicle through the bankruptcy, and they're able to get into a new loan with a fairly normal interest rate, even right out of the chute. Now, when it comes to home loans, because that's a big thing a lot of people are concerned about, is they want to be able to eventually get into a home again. What I usually see, it's usually about 18 to 24 months before you're going to be eligible for a mortgage loan. FHA, VA, they're definitely 2 years from the time when your bankruptcy case is discharged before they're going to allow you to qualify for a mortgage again. Other lenders can be anywhere from 18 months up to 3 years. So you will qualify again, your credit score will recover. It does stay on your credit for 10 years, but your score will recover much more quickly than that, and you'll be able to move on much more quickly than what I typically see when people just try to settle these, and it just goes on and on and on. So hopefully that's helpful. Hopefully that busts one of those myths that's out there that you're never going to have credit again. You absolutely will have credit again, and it's probably going to be sooner than you think. If you're having concerns or questions with debt and want or look into the bankruptcy process and you're in the state of Arizona, look at my contact information below. There's plenty of times where we can meet. I do a free consultation. I'm happy to help you make the best decision you can to deal with your debt problem once and for all. Thanks for watching today.